Imagine for a moment that you could rewire your brain and tap into a hidden power that's already inside of you. A power so potent that it can transform your reality. What if the key to unlocking your full potential, whether in wealth, health, or success, is not found outside of you, but rather through the thoughts and emotions you choose to cultivate every single day? This is the same principle that drives some of the most profound changes in the lives of those who understand the connection between mind, body, and the quantum field. The ability to create a new state of being, a state where your past no longer defines you, and where your future is shaped by the power of belief and emotion. It's all about belief, not just in the world around you, but in the potential that lies dormant inside. The moment you harness this, your world begins to shift. But how do you tap into this energy, this potential that could change everything? It's simpler than you think. It's about connecting thought, feeling, and energy, and doing so in a way that begins to alter your reality almost immediately. The science behind it shows that when you combine clear intention with elevated emotion, like joy, gratitude, or enthusiasm, you trigger a shift within your autonomic nervous system. This isn't just about positive thinking. It's about creating the chemical reaction in your body that mirrors the experience you wish to create. This process allows you to start manifesting the reality you desire: financial success, health, relationships, all of it. By the end of this journey, you'll understand how the body and mind are connected in a way that can make the impossible seem possible. And in just a short time, you'll see how powerful this practice really is. You won't just witness change, you'll create it. At the core of the transformation we seek in life is one unchanging truth: what you think, you become. This powerful statement is not merely a philosophical idea or a platitude to make us feel good about our dreams and aspirations. It is grounded in the very biology of our brains. Every thought you have, whether consciously or unconsciously, sends signals through your brain that influence not just your emotions, but your body as well. Thoughts are not abstract mental constructs. They are the blueprint for our experiences. The thoughts we hold on to shape the neural pathways in our brain, and these pathways, in turn, shape how we experience life. In this chapter, we will delve into the profound impact that our thoughts have on our reality. From the biological mechanisms that govern thought patterns to practical examples of how thought shapes our daily lives, we'll explore the ways in which the mind creates our physical and emotional realities. The human brain is a remarkable organ, capable of processing vast amounts of information every second. With around 86 billion neurons communicating with each other through trillions of synaptic connections, the brain is constantly at work, processing sensory information, making decisions, and, importantly, generating thoughts. These thoughts are more than just fleeting moments of consciousness. They are the fundamental building blocks of our experiences. Each time you think a thought, whether it's a fleeting worry about the future, a joyful anticipation about an upcoming event, or a deeply ingrained belief about your self-worth, your brain activates specific neural pathways. Over time, these pathways become more entrenched, forming the structure of your brain's circuitry. This phenomenon is known as neuroplasticity, and it highlights the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections in response to experience and learning. The more frequently you think a certain thought, the stronger and more established that pathway becomes. For example, consider a person who is constantly anxious. Every time they face a challenging situation, their brain sends signals of stress and fear, triggering a cascade of chemicals like cortisol, the stress hormone. Over time, this response becomes habitual, and their brain becomes wired to react with anxiety in any uncertain or unfamiliar situation. Conversely, someone who regularly practices mindfulness or gratitude might reinforce pathways associated with calm, positivity, and resilience. This illustrates a fundamental truth: what you think about consistently shapes the structure of your brain and influences the way you perceive the world. One of the most powerful aspects of our thoughts is their ability to affect not only our mental state but our physical state as well. For instance, think about a time when you were excited about something. Maybe it was the prospect of a new opportunity, a fresh project, or even something as simple as the thought of receiving a gift. In that moment, you may have felt a rush of energy, a sense of joy, or even anticipation. This is not just an emotional experience, it's a physiological one. When you have a thought that elicits a strong emotion, your brain activates certain regions, including the limbic system, which is responsible for emotional responses. In turn, the body responds by releasing a cocktail of chemicals, such as dopamine, serotonin, and adrenaline, that correspond to the emotion you're experiencing. These chemicals are the brain's way of preparing your body to act in response to the thought and emotion. If the thought is one of excitement, for instance, your body may enter into a state of heightened alertness, ready to act on the positive feelings that the brain is processing. This mind-body connection illustrates a critical point. Our emotions are not separate from our thoughts. They are the result of the thoughts we have. The more we reinforce certain thoughts and emotions, the more our bodies learn to react accordingly. When you hold on to a thought, particularly one that is positive or exciting, your body starts to believe that reality is already in motion. Over time, this creates a feedback loop. Your brain and body sync up, and you begin to experience a shift in your external world as well. The power of thought goes beyond simply reacting to external events. One of the most potent tools at our disposal is visualization, the act of mentally rehearsing an event or imagining a desired outcome before it happens. Visualization has been used by athletes, performers, and successful individuals in various fields as a way to prepare their minds and bodies for success. Research has shown that visualization can actually activate the same neural pathways as real physical activity. For instance, studies have demonstrated that when athletes visualize themselves performing an action, whether it's a basketball player making a perfect shot or a runner crossing the finish line, they activate the motor cortex of their brain, the same area that would be activated if they were physically performing the action. This phenomenon is known as neural priming. The brain doesn't distinguish between imagined actions and actual actions to the extent that you might think. The more vivid and detailed your mental imagery, the more real it feels to your brain, and the more likely it is that your body will respond accordingly. This is why athletes often use visualization to enhance their performance. It's a way of mentally training the body for success. This concept is equally applicable in the realm of personal growth and achieving your goals. If you want to manifest a desired outcome, whether it's financial success, improved health, or a fulfilling relationship, visualization helps to create the mental and emotional alignment needed for those outcomes to materialize. By consistently visualizing your success, you create a mental blueprint for your brain and body to follow, which in turn increases your chances of realizing that vision in the real world. Now that we have explored the way thoughts can shape our emotional and physical states, let's take a closer look at a phenomenon that demonstrates the incredible power of belief: the placebo effect. The placebo effect is a scientifically documented phenomenon that shows just how profoundly our beliefs can affect our health and well-being. The placebo effect occurs when a person experiences real improvements in their condition after receiving a treatment that has no therapeutic effect. For example, in clinical trials, participants may be given a sugar pill, a saline injection, or some other inert substance, but if they believe that they are receiving a real treatment, their symptoms often improve as though they had taken an actual medication. One of the most famous studies illustrating the placebo effect involved antidepressants. In this study, patients were divided into two groups. One group received the actual antidepressant, while the other group received a sugar pill that had no active ingredients. To the researchers' surprise, over 80% of the participants in the placebo group reported significant improvements in their symptoms, just as effectively as those who received the real medication. But how does this work? How can a sugar pill or a saline injection create such profound changes in the body? It comes down to belief. When someone believes that they are receiving a real treatment, their brain begins to produce the same chemicals that would be released by the actual medication. The brain, with its infinite capacity to create reality, starts to mimic the effects of the treatment because it believes it is real. The body, which is deeply connected to the mind, doesn't differentiate between an actual experience and one that's imagined. In the case of the placebo effect, the healing doesn't come from the pill itself. It comes from the power of belief. When the mind is convinced that something will work, it activates the body's natural healing mechanisms, enabling the body to heal itself. This is a profound illustration of the mind-body connection and the power that our thoughts and beliefs have over our physical health. The placebo effect highlights a powerful truth. Belief creates reality. What you believe about your health, your capabilities, your future, becomes your experience. This is why it is so important to cultivate empowering beliefs that align with your desires. If you believe that you are capable of achieving your goals, your brain will start to reinforce that belief, creating new pathways that support your success. Conversely, if you believe that you are destined to fail or that your dreams are unattainable, your brain will also reinforce those limiting beliefs, creating neural pathways that prevent you from taking the necessary actions to achieve your goals. This principle extends beyond just physical health or achievement in specific areas. It touches every aspect of life. Whether it's in our relationships, our finances, or our personal growth, the beliefs we hold shape the reality we live in. The more we consciously choose to cultivate empowering beliefs, the more our thoughts and actions will align with those beliefs, creating a self-fulfilling cycle of success and abundance. So, how can you harness the power of your thoughts to create the reality you desire? Here are a few practical strategies. Mindfulness and self-awareness. Start by becoming aware of your thoughts. Pay attention to the patterns of thinking that you engage in regularly. Are they empowering or limiting? Becoming mindful of your thoughts is the first step in taking control of them. Reprogramming negative thought patterns. Once you've identified limiting beliefs, work to replace them with positive, empowering thoughts. Use affirmations, visualization, and other tools to reprogram your subconscious mind. Cultivating positive emotions. Focus on thoughts and experiences that make you feel good. By consistently focusing on positive thoughts, you will train your brain to look for opportunities and solutions rather than problems. Visualization. Regularly visualize the outcomes you want to achieve. Picture yourself achieving your goals in vivid detail, and imagine the feelings associated with that success. Belief in your power. Cultivate a belief in your ability to create the life you desire. This belief will activate your brain's natural capacity to support you in manifesting your dreams. To understand how we can shift our behavior and beliefs, we must first comprehend the underlying mechanism of conditioning, particularly classical conditioning. This process, famously demonstrated by Ivan Pavlov, reveals the extraordinary power of associations formed between stimuli and responses. Through his experiments with dogs, Pavlov showed that when a bell was rung every time food was presented, the dogs began to salivate at the sound of the bell, even when no food was offered. This response was not inherent to the bell itself, but rather was learned through repeated association. In the case of Pavlov's experiment, the dogs had learned to connect the bell with the impending arrival of food, and as a result, their bodies automatically responded with salivation. This simple experiment shows us how our brain forms associations between environmental stimuli and physiological responses. In other words, the brain and body can be trained to react automatically to certain stimuli, regardless of whether the stimulus has a direct cause-effect relationship with the response. But let's bring this back to your own experiences. Have you ever taken a pill for pain, anxiety, or stress relief? What happens after you take it? Often, within moments, your body starts to relax. The tension in your muscles begins to ease, and your mind starts to settle. But here's the intriguing part. It's not necessarily the pill that causes this change. What's really happening is that your body has been conditioned to associate that particular pill with relaxation and relief. Through repeated experiences, your body has learned to respond to the act of taking the pill with a physiological shift, regardless of whether the pill itself has any real therapeutic effect. This is a prime example of how conditioning works. Over time, the repeated pairing of the pill with relaxation conditions your body to relax whenever you take it. It's the belief in the pill and the body's learned response that creates the effect, not the pill's intrinsic properties. It's a fascinating demonstration of how powerful conditioning can be in shaping our behaviors and perceptions. The key takeaway here is that our bodies are programmed by these associations. Whether it's with external substances or environmental cues, we become conditioned to respond in specific ways based on what we've learned over time. But what if you could take control of this conditioning process? What if you could train your body to respond to mental and emotional cues rather than relying on external substances or stimuli? The possibility of reprogramming our own responses, shifting our emotional and physical states at will, is incredibly empowering. Let's explore this concept further. We've established that conditioning can make the body react automatically to certain stimuli. But what if we could bypass the need for external substances like pills or other aids? What if you could condition your mind and body to heal, to relax, or to energize itself simply through your thoughts and beliefs? This idea isn't as far-fetched as it may seem. In fact, the field of psychoneuroimmunology, an area of study that explores the link between the mind and body, has shown that mental and emotional states can significantly affect our physical health. The placebo effect is a prime example of how our belief systems can lead to real, tangible changes in our bodies. The placebo effect occurs when a person experiences improvement in their condition simply because they believe they are receiving treatment, even if the treatment is inactive. This belief, rooted in expectation and conditioning, triggers the body's self-healing mechanisms, demonstrating the immense power of the mind over the body. So, what if we could intentionally harness this power? Imagine being able to shift your emotional state with the same ease that you shift gears in a car. By practicing mental techniques such as visualization, meditation, and positive affirmations, you can begin to reprogram your body to respond in ways that serve you rather than limit you. You could train your body to relax at will, to feel empowered in stressful situations, or to embrace confidence and joy whenever you need it. This shift requires a level of self-awareness and intention. It's about becoming the conscious creator of your own experience rather than being at the mercy of unconscious conditioning. Once you understand that conditioning can happen at both the conscious and unconscious levels, you can take steps to actively reprogram your brain and body, replacing outdated, unhelpful associations with new ones that support your desired outcomes. The relationship between belief and conditioning cannot be overstated. Beliefs are deeply ingrained mental structures that influence how we interpret and respond to the world around us. They shape our reality by filtering the information we receive and by determining how we react to life's challenges. Our beliefs are, in essence, the foundation of our conditioned responses. Take a moment to reflect on your own beliefs. What do you believe about your health, your ability to succeed, or your worthiness? How have these beliefs influenced the way you approach your life? Perhaps you've heard people say that thoughts become things. While this statement might seem overly simplistic, there is a great deal of truth to it. Our thoughts, beliefs, and expectations shape our reality by influencing our actions, which in turn shape our experiences. For instance, if you believe that you are destined for failure, you might subconsciously sabotage your own efforts or avoid taking risks altogether. On the other hand, if you believe that you are capable of success, you may take bold actions, embrace opportunities, and persist in the face of challenges. The power of belief lies in its ability to influence our behavior at both the conscious and subconscious levels. But the most profound aspect of belief is its malleability. Beliefs are not fixed, they can be changed. Just as we are conditioned to react in certain ways, we can also condition ourselves to believe in new possibilities. By consciously choosing new beliefs, supported by repeated action and emotional reinforcement, we can rewire our brains and bodies to align with those beliefs. To better understand the power of conditioning, it's helpful to explore the science behind how the brain forms associations. Classical conditioning, as mentioned earlier, is a process where a neutral stimulus, like the sound of a bell, becomes associated with an unconditioned stimulus, like food, leading to a conditioned response, like salivation. This association occurs in the brain, primarily within structures like the amygdala and the hippocampus, which are responsible for emotional processing and memory formation. When a new stimulus is paired with an emotional or physiological response, the brain begins to form neural connections that reinforce this link. Over time, these connections become stronger, and the response becomes automatic. The more frequently the association is reinforced, the more deeply ingrained the conditioned response becomes. For example, let's say that every time you experience a stressful situation, you reach for a cigarette or a snack to cope. Over time, your brain forms an association between stress and the action of smoking or eating. The next time you encounter a stressful event, your brain automatically triggers the urge to smoke or eat, as it has been conditioned to do so. This is a learned behavior, not an inherent one, and it can be unlearned with the right techniques. One of the most powerful ways to break free from unhelpful conditioning is through mindfulness. By becoming aware of the automatic responses your brain triggers, you can begin to interrupt the cycle of conditioning and choose a different path. Mindfulness allows you to observe your thoughts and behaviors without judgment, giving you the space to make conscious decisions rather than reacting automatically. The process of reconditioning the mind begins with awareness. The first step is to become conscious of the patterns of thought, belief, and behavior that have been conditioned over time. This might involve recognizing unhelpful patterns, such as negative self-talk, limiting beliefs, or automatic stress responses. Once these patterns are identified, the next step is to consciously replace them with new, empowering beliefs and behaviors. One effective method for reconditioning the mind is through affirmations. Affirmations are positive statements that are repeated regularly to help reprogram the subconscious mind. For instance, if you have a belief that you are not capable of success, you could replace this belief with an affirmation like, "I am capable and deserving of success." By repeating this affirmation daily, you begin to shift your belief system and reinforce the idea that you are indeed capable of achieving your goals. Visualization is another powerful tool for reconditioning the mind. When you visualize yourself succeeding in your endeavors, whether it's in business, relationships, or personal growth, you are essentially rehearsing success in your mind. The more vivid and emotionally charged your visualization, the stronger the neural pathways become, reinforcing the belief that success is within your reach. Just like Pavlov's dogs learn to associate the sound of the bell with food, you can learn to associate success with specific mental and emotional states. Over time, these new associations become just as automatic as the old ones. The more you practice positive affirmations, visualization, and other reconditioning techniques, the more your brain rewires itself to support your desired outcomes. The key is consistency, repeatedly reinforcing the new belief or behavior until it becomes ingrained in your subconscious mind. Imagine waking up every day overwhelmed by financial struggles, with your thoughts consumed by lack. Now, picture waking up and focusing not on what you lack, but on your potential, visualizing abundance, joy, and gratitude as if you already have them. This shift in focus changes your state of being. The key is consistency. Just like clinical placebo studies show results through belief, immersing yourself in this new mindset daily reprograms your body and mind to align with your desired reality. By believing in abundance and success, your body starts producing the necessary chemistry to match that belief. The power of neuroplasticity means your brain can rewire itself, changing its structure and function through consistent thought shifts. Practicing gratitude and visualizing success can reshape your brain, making it more receptive to new, positive beliefs. Your emotions amplify this process. Positive emotions like gratitude release chemicals that improve well-being, while negative emotions like stress hinder growth. By cultivating positive emotions, you align your body chemistry with your goals, attracting abundance. Incorporating the quantum field theory, your thoughts and emotions send out vibrations that connect with infinite possibilities. Focused intention aligns you with those possibilities, drawing them into your life, just like tuning a radio to your favorite station. Placebo effects show that belief alone can heal. Just as believing in a fake treatment can cause real physical changes, believing in abundance can transform your financial reality. The more you believe, the more your thoughts, emotions, and actions align with success. By shifting your thoughts and emotions consistently, you begin to heal by thought alone, creating the reality you desire. The quantum field represents infinite possibilities. Every potential outcome exists within this field, waiting for you to align with it. When you combine intention with elevated emotion, you tap into this field, selecting the outcome that aligns with your deepest desires. Your mind has the power to connect with this field. Just as you can take a placebo and expect healing, you can also expect abundance, wealth, and success. The field is full of potential, ready for you to tap into it. By programming your mind and emotions to align with that potential, you draw these possibilities into your life. Through focused intention and positive emotions, you create a vibrational match with the reality you wish to manifest. Your thoughts are like a magnet, attracting opportunities, people, and situations that resonate with your desires. Just like tuning into a radio station, aligning your mind with the quantum field lets you access the infinite potential waiting to be realized. Incorporating the quantum field into your daily practice, with a clear sense of intention and elevated emotion, allows you to harness this infinite potential, moving closer to your desired reality. By connecting with the field, you create the life you want, abundant, successful, and fulfilling,